Hello everybody and welcome to the final round of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge here in Season 14. It's finally round 14 and Road Atlanta here tonight as we settle our championships. Only a couple of them to settle overall, but plenty of positional battles to watch throughout the day and an interesting race as well as our North American final half of the season draws to a close. It will be myself, Ewan, and James Parfitt taking you through the action as always. And we've got special guest Brandon Walker with us as well to give us a bit of an idea as to what it's like to actually be a driver, because I think between me and James we might have done about no driving actually in 2025. So it's good to have someone with some actual experience on one of these circuits. Good evening to you both as always. Just in qualifying at the moment, which is just drawing to a close, and it's slightly damp out there on the circuit as well. James, we've not seen very much weather this season, and the consensus seems to be that it's now dry enough for dry tyres, but it's an extra added thing to think about in this final round.
Yeah, I think this is the thing coming into Road Atlanta as well. It's bad enough trying to think about the course itself because it's quick, right? It's quite a short course. But I have to throw in rain as well. We were trying to work out the times earlier on. We think as long as the in-sim time doesn't change when it goes over to the race, we should just miss the rain. But it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. All the GTPs set their times on dries, and all the LMP2s, it was only Mo Islam who come out on dries, all the others on wets, and every other one of the grid is on wets as well in GDT and GTD AM.
Yeah, well, it says that, but two things. Mo Islam's time isn't any different to anybody else's, so either there was no difference between wets and dries, barely at all, which feels unlikely, or he's just put them on at the very end of the session.
That's a possibility.
For some reason when the set, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, he is on the pole, but whether he set that on dries or not, I'm not entirely sure. Brandon, I saw you in the Discord earlier saying it's a good thing you won't be in the race today because it is a little bit wet. Is that a good thing for everybody else, or are you just pleased not to be driving in the wet?
A little bit of both. I mean, listen, I think Road Atlanta is a great track, especially with this being a season finale. The endurance race can be a lot of hectic going on. With this just being a sprint in rain, I think we're in for just as much of a thrill.
You're currently in 7th place in the LMP2 standings, and you've obviously taken a back seat for this final round of the season. I want to chat a little bit with a couple of minutes left in qualifying, just how you think the season's gone for yourself so far. There was a big chunk of races you missed in the middle of the season, which sort of ruled you out of any serious position in the championship this season, 4 or 5 rounds in the middle. But you've had some good results along the way, a couple of second places in a couple of rounds, actually 3 out of the last 4. But how do you think the season's gone for yourself?
Yeah, I think just dating back to the Glen and the rain, a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and then, life events happened to where wasn't able to make a couple races, but a lot of growth has happened in between to where I was able to challenge Carter and the rest of the field for wins and podiums, and just really happy with the results, of course. So I think it's been a great season overall, great turnout.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you in the booth for this round, even if it means that we're not going to be seeing you out on the racetrack. And in fact, there's only 7 LMP2s this time around. It's been one of the best, 6 of them. It's been one of the best attended classes this season, if you like, and a great one to watch as well. Another close qualifying session that we'll go through a little bit later on. It's pretty close overall in this qualifying session right now as well. We just saw Robert Cast go a bit quicker. He's just over half a second away. And because James Pelshat isn't here, everyone is seeing a big opportunity here. Nathan Dowd now goes to the top.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you see Pat Pelshat not in the session, you're kind of like, whoa, yeah, buddy, because it gives an opportunity to somebody else to win. So why not go for it? I think we might get a Perez-Dowd battle. No offence, Mr. Cast, who's obviously sitting on pole at the moment, but obviously changed over mid-season to the GTPs. I don't know if it's quite on the pace at points of these guys. Qualifying pace, yes. Race pace, maybe not so much. But we'll see what happens. You never know. We might have a surprise coming through in the GTP. It's going to be an exciting one either way, I think. Season end, we've still got 24 drivers. So we've still sort of, got a decent grid to finish off the season finale.
Yeah, it's going to be
curious to see how these guys do on the start, just because the last night's practice session was wet, but I don't know how many of them actually turn laps. So really get a feel for it here in a few minutes.
Yeah, and we'll see how wet it is as well when we actually start the race, which is going to be a point of contention for everybody. It's very much going to feel like the last day of school, I think, here today. It could be a little bit of a wild race in some ways. We'll see. As the checker flag now waves, looks like Adolfo Perez is one of the only drivers who's left to improve. Maybe Nathan Dowd as well. He's only through the first sector at the moment. Trevor Vavrovsky is just coming over the line right now as well. He's quite a way off pole at the moment. Goes over the line and doesn't seem to improve at all. So it's really going to be down to Perez and Dowd here, who are the only drivers left out on the circuit. Perez is currently 9/10 off of pole position of Robert Cast. If he can just get a little bit closer to the front row, at least in terms of times, that'll be pleasing to him. And he might well have done here. What's the time going to be? Oh, he does go up to the pole, so this is going to be interesting. A 109.4 from him puts him up to the top, and Cast demoted to second. Nathan Dowd is currently on 3 purple sectors. Is this circuit just getting quicker and quicker as the circuit's drying out, and it's going to be about last man to cross the line gets pole? Well, at the moment, Nathan Dowd would be hoping so, because he's going over the line here, and it might well be pole for him. That is looking good, and it is. 109.2. A pretty dramatic end to the final qualifying session of the season, and Nathan Dowd's taken pole. Is it as simple, Brandon, as this track is just getting continually drier throughout the session?
Yeah, it's very rewarding too. Once you know, as we see another one coming to the line, once you know that grip is improving every lap, you really get to push the limits a little bit more. Okay, I can be a little bit more aggressive here.
Oh, he must have had an off track somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, bro, he was flying as well.
If I know Robert and Adolfo pretty well, I'm sure they'll be kind of kicking themselves about missing out just that much. But I think Nathan found a grip just that much more.
Yeah, that's just a quarter of a second separate the 3 at the end of that qualifying session. Well, they'll go into the gridding period now, and so we'll have a look at the starting grid a little bit later on. But let's run you through some of the championship standings that we are contending with here tonight. Starting with those that don't really matter. The GTP, the top 3 are all secure, actually. Pat Pelchat can't be caught. Nathan Dowd can't be caught. Neither can Adolfo Perez. So that's going to be that. Robert Cast is 6th place in the standings. Trevor Vavrovsky's in 7th. They are too far behind to break into the top 5 either. They could exchange positions between themselves, but they won't be losing any sleep over who finishes 6th or who finishes 7th. In LMP2, Carter Cunningham has had the season wrapped up from early on here, 50 points ahead of Robert Tinsey, who also can't be caught for second. But the battle for third is going to be an interesting one between Caden Richardson, Andrew Parker and Mo Islam. At the moment, Mo Islam's on the pole, so he'll get an extra point closer. Caden Richardson's 3rd, and Andrew Parker is 4th in the qualifying session. So watch out for those guys battling over 3rd in the championship. In GTD, Ross Booth has taken that title, and he's leading by 52 points. 2nd and 3rd is still to be battled over, though. Bradley Haley and Nicholas Davis. As Haley is in the top 3 today, top 2 rather, he will take that position no matter where Nicholas Davis finishes. Although Davis has qualified on pole, so let's see how he gets on in the race. And then the interesting one, GTD AM is up for grabs in the lead of this championship. 7 points between Joshua Wolf and Ed Eisenring, who know they're going to be first or second, but in what order? If Wolf finishes in the top 2, then he is going to win this title. And the battle for third is an interesting one as well. Dale Green, Miguel de Souza, and also Chris Sherburn separated by just 3 points. They are fighting for that final spot inside the top 3 in GTD AM. In the team's standings, Sector 5 Racing have taken a bit of a step forward in the last couple of weeks. We'll try and work it out by the end of the evening as to who is going to be champion there, but it is quite hard to work out. At Mosport, they had a very good round, and they're now 5.3 points ahead of Composite Performance Platinum, and they are 7.5 ahead of Composite Performance Titanium. As I mentioned, a really good week at Mosport last time out, actually, for Sector 5 Racing, gaining 12 points over Composite Performance Platinum, and that is where it changed. That's how it flipped around, if you like, with Nathan Dowd finishing second, Bradley Haley finishing second, and Joshua Wolf winning his class. All of them doing a very good job indeed. Let's have a look at the starting grid ready for this final race of the season. And it is Nathan Dowd who has qualified that one on the pole. Adolfo Perez just alongside. Robert Cast and Dominic Derneberg will be on road 2 ahead of Trevor Vavrosky at the end. Then Morris Sam's taken the pole in LMP2. Carter Cunningham and Caden Richardson are next in line. Andrew Parker, Robert Tinsey and Fozzie Fuzzello round out the LMP2s ahead of Nicholas Davis, who's qualified on pole in GTD. Then it's Ross Booth. Adam Satterfield in the GTD AMS is third in line in that class, which is very good qualifying for him and a pretty good one for Ed Eisenring as well, considering how many points at the moment he's ahead of Joshua Wolf. Bradley Haley alongside Eisenring there. Miguel D'Souza and Mark Godowski will be on the next row ahead of Shane Hunter and then Joshua Wolf. Morgan Smith and Chris Serban didn't set lap Serban at least didn't set lap times, neither did Green or Dominic Zioli down at the back end of the field. So we should have 24 getting onto the grid, but we will see. Still a minute and a half of gridding, so don't be alarmed at the lack of drivers on the circuit just for the moment. Early impressions here, Brandon. It looks dry on the circuit, at least. It looks like we have flipped forward quite a lot in time, actually. The shadows look quite long to me, but it looks dry, which is the most important thing for these drivers, although my timing screen's going haywire with people selecting wet tyres and all sorts.
It does. I think this is the period where people are kind of unsure a little bit what to start with, especially looking at the weather. The other thing I'd be curious to know is what the pit lane entry looks like. Saw a lot of incidents going on there. It's a quick way to end the day. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited to see the start.
It should be an interesting start, James. Are we to believe that timing screen is correct? And there's, so far, in all of the classes apart from GTD, there's at least one person on wets.
Yes, as far as I'm aware, we've jumped forward to 6:04. Now, that put us in the fact that in the timing earlier that it's going to rain. So, yeah, it may be rain on the horizon.
Or at least it has rained between the qualifying session and the race session.
Yeah.
And so, because this to me, I mean, at the end of the qualifying session, that was a dry no-brainer, dry tyre no-brainer towards the end there. That's why you saw them all going quicker and quicker as they went along. The dries were certainly the best tyre. But yeah, we saw, what was it, about midday? It was 100% chance of precipitation at some stage, really overcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, we couldn't go too far forward in the forecast. I think we could only go to 3 p.m. or so. So clearly, after at some point of that, at the very most, 3 hours ago, it stopped raining. It looks like it did stop raining quite a long time ago to me. Because when nobody's driving, there's no spray being kicked up or whatever. It's difficult to see, but we will see what the spray is like when we get going here. Because even when you have the dry tyres available and viable in iRacing, the spray does get kicked up quite viciously as well. Some of these guys on the wet tyres will be hoping that it is. At the moment, I'm not really seeing very much at slow speed, and I can tell you that 3 out of the 5 LMP2s that are on the grid have chosen the wets. Now the spray will start to be kicked up a little bit more here, but I can't help but feel, Brandon, this looks too dry for wet tyres, really.
Yeah, I'm looking at the weather here. I don't think we're going to get any more, so I would expect this track to dry out pretty quickly. And that's going to definitely eat into those wet tires, too. So we might see some early stops. We might not. I'm not sure. But, again, like you said, I'm not seeing a whole lot of spray, and that's usually the dictator for tire choice.
I want to dive a little bit deeper as well into the GTD AM Championship, and I'll get both of your predictions for who might win, because it is going to be our focus here tonight. But one thing initially to speak of, Ed Eisenring has chosen the dries, Joshua Wolf has chosen the wet tyres. That seems like a very brave call to me, considering the situation they're in and considering the situation that Joshua Wolf is in the championship. Although maybe it'll be a masterstroke, we'll find out. James first, though, who do you think is going to win the title in GTD AM?
Purely because of the track conditions and it looks dry, I would say Ed Eisenring.
He's going to make 7 points.
Yeah.
Okay. Brandon?
Yeah, I might go there too. I think it's pretty conservative driver, knows how to keep his car on track, stay clean. Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, he's well, I think a lot's riding on this tyre call here. One of them's going to get it wrong. Obviously, he's chosen different things, but yeah, it's going to be really race defining. I mean, I'll go for Joshua Wolf to hold on, just to be different. I do actually think Ed as well, but.
Oh, okay. So you're going to basically just go for somebody completely different for the sake of it.
No, because if Joshua Wolf does win, then I can have a giggle to myself at the end.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the day.
Fair enough, Diz. You do you. You know what I mean? Chris Sherborne had jumped into YouTube chat earlier on as well. Season finale looks good. DRS guys, good luck. And Socius, I'd love to be able to read your message, but I have no idea what you put. So if you can write it in English, that'd be ideal.
It's in Spanish. Something about the last race. Anyway, out the final corner, and Nathan Dowd is going to see the green flag and immediately be into the difficulty and the unknown here at Road Atlanta. Wetness still on the circuit here as Dowd and Perez go side by side in towards turn one. All of these GTPs on dry tyres. If they've made the wrong call, and LMP2 is going to be leading this race in a few moments' time. Kundinger already in trouble. Oh, he's off over the top of the hill. Big trouble here. Carter Kundiger's all over the place. He's on the wet tyres. Was that a contributing factor or not? I think he was side by side with Mo Islam at one stage, and that might have been one of the reasons why. Over the top of the hill for the GT cars now. How are these guys getting on as they come back down the other side of the hill here? It's looking good so far for the GTD guys. Davis and Booth were the first two in line. Bradley Haley needs to get up the order here, otherwise he's going to lose second in the championship to Nicholas Davis if he's not careful. Out of turn 5, this is looking tricky. The GTPs are really struggling in terms of tyre warm-up here, and the Dominic Turnerberg is leading the race at the moment, but look at that in the background there, Brandon. The LMP2's just launching off the line a lot better, looks like, than the GTPs.
Yeah, cold tires around here is tricky enough. Going up that turn one, turn 2 combo with the damp track, I'm sure that was a handful enough. I'd love to get a replay just to see what went wrong there. We see another pass going on.
Yeah, that's Islam on the dry. He's going past Richardson in the wet, so I think that could be quite telling. It's got damage on the front right. I think Islam was either hit by or did hit Kundinger. Let's find out. Islam is on the left in the white, red and green, and it's Kundinger losing it on his own, and he comes straight back on the circuit, straight into Islam, who had nowhere to go there, James. That looked like tyre trouble to me. He just lost that in a place you wouldn't normally.
Yeah, that was just cold tyres coming off the start. I think we know with the tyre model now as well, the new one, the LMP2s take a while to heat up, so do the GTBs. So I expect it to get quicker and quicker as they go on, but they're not overly struggling. Okay, well that's just put my theory into complete and utter useless use, isn't it? Somebody went flying off there. Robert Cass went off the side of the circuit and is now sitting in front of the LMP2s of Andrew Parker and Mo Islam. So yeah, I would say they weren't struggling, but it looks like they may have been.
Yeah, not just that, it looked like Carter was well off the racing line. Maybe just misjudged how much room he was giving them. I'm sure that part of the track was really wet.
Goodness, that was close. Islam and Parker for the lead in LMP2. Just behind Robert Cass there, picking himself out the barrier down at turn 5. In GTD, it is very much about those on dry tyres who are rising to the fore right now. Look at that. Top 3 all in GTD, all on dries, and that's the only tyre call there. So I guess there's nothing much to speak of there. But look at GTD AM. The top 5 all chose dries, and they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the race right now. Then it's Joshua Wolf, the first of those who've chosen the wet tyres, but right now it looks like the wrong call here, James. This is potentially championship defining. Yeah,
definitely. I think Wolf there has made the wrong decision. I definitely think he's gone onto wets, and he shouldn't have been on wets unless all of a sudden some miraculous rain comes out of the middle of nowhere and it just falls down on the racetrack. He might be all right, but other than that, I think for poor old Josh Wolf, this could be championship defining, as we got Nick Davis and Ross Booth going at each other around turn 5.
I guess at this stage, Brandon, it's going to be damage limitation for Wolf, and surely he'll be looking for that earliest moment in which he can make just the one pit stop here today, and then make it home on fuel. But he'll have to do a tyre change as well, which will cost him time. Surely he's going to have to lose some time when he's out there on the wrong tyre set as well. But the safety point at which these GTs, or indeed any car, can actually make it to the end of the race after making their fuel stop, surely it's quite a long way away.
Yeah, that's going to feel like an eternity for him. When you're on the wrong tire, it just feels horrible. You can't get the car to do what you want it to do. Not just that, but you're losing ground on the cars ahead of you. So, yeah, it's going to take a lot to make that time back up. But it looks like he lost the toe. So I'd be curious to see if he dives in early or what happens. I mean, the only thing I can really see maybe balancing that back out is the traffic once that comes up.
would you say it's so bad at this stage that 2 stops might actually be worth it?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think maybe if he's played around with the fuel numbers a little bit, I'm sure he started on full fuel. So I mean, I don't know. 2-stopper might really just be detrimental to it more than anything than helping.
2 trips down pit lane's not something we've seen work this, or well, it's not something we've had to see work, but yeah, it's a real difficult call, isn't it? 2-stop versus 1-stop. He's losing time out there now, but he'd also lose time stopping twice, so it's impossible, really.
Yeah,
right. I think he's just better. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, for him, if he's going to do it, he needs to do it now. The earlier he does this, the better position he's going to be in. If he leaves it and hopes that the rain's going to keep coming, he is going to lose more and more time. Because I can put you back now on a 1:23.96 for his last time. Ed Eisenring 1:20.46. So at the moment he's already losing 3 seconds per lap here for Josh Wolf. So if he goes in, he can at least try and make some of the limitations on the gap, and he just might be able to get in for the quick splash and dash at the end. But he's got to do it now. If he doesn't do it now, then it's game over, I think.
Not sure if this is a proven fact either, but if you can find any sort of wet puddles, damp surfaces to help kind of cool those tires a little bit, because right now those tires are screaming in tire temperature.
Yeah, even though the track temperature's only down at 18 Celsius, it is that's low, by the way, for those in Fahrenheit land. It doesn't matter if you're on the wrong compound. It doesn't matter how hot the top tire temperature is, track temperature rather. You are going to be suffering. We'll see if he ends up driving down the grass to drive down his tire temperature as well. Well, I'm not sure that works in iRacing like it does in real life. Anyway, he is losing a lot of time. As you say, if he's 3 seconds a lap, James, then even making it to the pit stop winner is going to cost him at least half a minute. Surely pitting might be better than that. And Tinsley and Cunningham have done exactly what you said. Bite the bullet now and change your tyres now before it's too late to see any benefit from it. They can see immediately that this race is going away from them. It seems actually even worse in LMP2. Caden Richardson's already 17 seconds off the top 2. Bite the bullet now, change your tyres now and cut your losses while you still can.
Yep, Wolf needs to do the same. He needs to do the same thing. They're already going through traffic as well with the GTPs. Wolf needs to go in now. He has to go in now and get them tyres off and maybe get dries on, but he's not, and every lap he's losing 3 seconds. Every single time for Josh Wolf. This is not a good decision. They're even down in the 119s at the moment. He's just gone over the line on a 123.39. That's 4 seconds to Adam Satterfield even in next, and another 3.1 seconds to Ed Eisenring up front. Wrong decision.
This is the wrong decision at the moment for Wolf, but I'm afraid that the big wrong decision has been made 8 minutes ago, and it was at the start of this race. Caden Richardson now also in LMP2 is in. All of the LMP2 drivers have decided that this is not the tyre compound to be on, and they're going to cut their losses now in GTD. They don't seem to have quite figured that out just for the moment, so they are all continuing on. It's a very weird class split there, that all the LMP2s have been able to see that and pit in, but the GTD AM drivers just haven't. Here's the battle for third. Perez versus Pavlovsky. Tony Turnberg's taken off like a rocket here in this race start for some reason. Not sure where this was in qualifying, but anyway, he's first now, and he's even ahead of Nathan Dowd, who's doing a good job for his team. Checking on the team's implications of what Josh Wolf is going through at the moment a little bit later, but for his own personal ambitions, he would currently be losing the championship by just 1 point here, Brandon. It's getting really, really close. But Ed Eisenring at the moment is 1 point in front.
Yeah, I think Dominic was probably one of those ones that actually tested the transition from wet to dry in that practice last night. He's having a good race so far. I'm sure he's having a great time, but it's all about, this track is such a busy lap, especially with traffic now. You gotta stay 10 toes. So coming up on GP3s now. I'm sure Adolfo may be fuel saving, may not be, I'm not sure. Mo Islam too, and not just Mo, but Ross Booth. I'm sure Ross is the reason why we haven't seen too much of a battle, is just because of that reason, fuel saving. I I'm sure each of these stops are going to be really tight, but not just that. But again, the cold tires, right? The cold tires can really play a part. Who's taking what, 2, 4? You know.
Yeah, would you take any tyres in this situation when we get to the pit stops, obviously?
Of course, the ones that took wets, you had to, right? But it could be a tight fuel number for those that took wets. Those that are on dry, like Nicholas and Ross here, I'm not sure. You know, I haven't really ran enough laps in GT3 to know what the tires degradation is like, but I would assume some tires would be beneficial with this being such a technical track that it is.
Oh,
I guess
whoa.
Oh, hello.
Like a mobile chicane there, wasn't it? We're going on, unfortunately. Yeah. Miguel de Sousa, Haley are having a battle with Mr. Isering as well. Interesting enough, everybody who's left on wet tyres, they're at the bottom of the order. Dale Green, Chris Sherborne, Morgan Smith, and Josh Wolf, who has pulled the trigger and is in pit lane.
Wow.
Too late,
so
but
he's
he's
down
in pit lane.
Wow. Down to ninth. At the moment, if Ed Isering finishes second, Wolf needs fifth. And that means beating somebody who started on dries, which is going to be difficult. However, for Ed Isering, it also means if one single person from the top 5 falls off the road and crashes, which is not unlikely around here, then he's not winning the championship anymore, and there's not much he can do about it. The other thing to factor in, of course, is the point for 0 incidents over the course of the day. That's 2 points worth if he can get them. It's been quite difficult to come by this season. We'll have a look and see if we can keep on top of it over the course of the day, but it's going to be quite difficult. There's Bradley Haley. He goes through into another position overall, but that's not a class position there, James. He's actually right in the middle of the battle for a second in GTDM.
Yeah, it's unfortunately at the moment as well. The difference is, I can tell you now, just by judging what we can pick up off the off tracks, Josh Wolf's already got one. So for him, it's going to be so is Ed Isering. He's already got 2. So neither are going to get a 0x race on that because we can only pick up on off tracks.
Okay. Well, well, that makes it easier for us. I can't say I'm displeased about that.
No, me neither. If they were still sitting in 0 on our timing system, I'd be a little bit worried because we don't pick up on we pick up on off tracks, but we can't pick up on collisions. So unfortunately, we wouldn't know if there was contact, whether or not it would register as a 0, a 2, or a 4, and we wouldn't know that until the end of the race when we get the official results up. But Ross Booth going past Nicholas Davies.
Oh, hello. Close, and still close, out of the first chicane for Tuin Davis and Booth. And I agree with Brandon, I thought that Booth was just fuel saving and he was just going to sit there till the pit stops, but apparently not. He wants to go out and lead this race as well here. Outside line through the final corner gives him still the outside at turn 1 and turn 2 when they get to the top of the hill. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare for him, this, as he gets to the top now. Surely he's going to have to back out at some point. They're still going for it. Oh my goodness, this is very costly time-wise, but he has got through. A great overtake from Ross Booth, Brandon, but you can't say that was very efficient between the two.
Yeah, they did kind of invite Adam back in the mix, didn't it? But again, unless Ross hit his fuel number and wants to get the lead before LMP2s are approached, kind of surprised by that move, but definitely made it work.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well, to be honest. I wouldn't have thought he would have even attempted that until the pit stops, but anyway, there you go. He is now through.
Oh,
there's Ed Isering. He's got trouble in front of him there. That is Carter Cunningham off the road down at turn. Where is that? Turn 8, I think. No, turn
6.
7. Right,
Yeah, 6 going into 7.
Or 6, whatever. There's Cunningham. He's up on the curve initially there and then spins out. I have noticed as well, Caden Richardson has also gone for a couple of spins as he's been on his outlaps, so, or at least a couple of off-track excursions. So we'll just take a look at one or two of these. Saw him off the road at least twice. There's a bit of grass, but that's not the bit that did for him in the end. There's the bit of grass that's done for him. He's run very wide and he's got away without touching the wall. And here's another one of them. He might just run. Oh wow! This is the outlap where I saw him go off. And well, there's a description of it. Oh, and he's gonna kiss the wall as well. Ouch! Just looks like he's on some ice blocks there. He's got so little grip. We hear a lot, Brandon, about the new tyre warm-up phase in LMP2. First of all, how much different is it compared to what it was before? But more importantly, how difficult is that going to be in such cold temperatures and a slightly damp circuit like this one?
Yeah, it's extremely more difficult, but it honestly makes the racing a lot more exciting, closer together. Having to play the strategy of having warm tires versus cold tires, whether they're new, used, cold tires. I ran some laps here in week 13, but of course there was one more update after that. Just like you saw with Caden, it's very tricky on the out lap, right? And it's also very easy to overwork the car, spin the car, and vice versa, understeer. I think setting up the car is a lot trickier now. We're kind of hearing from setup makers that they're still figuring it out, and I think as we go on, we'll see those maybe benefit more than the others. But all in all, I think this new tire model is what the sim needed.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think anything that makes setup makers like that sort of scratch their heads. You can see it in the top split of special events and so on in LMP2. It is very, very tricky to work out what to do, when to change the tyres, how to set up the car for the tyres, and what to do at these stages of the race. iRacing, certainly a while back, was so linear in the way that the tyres were interacting with everything else, because remember the days before there was even a day-night cycle and before there was even track temperature that was factored in on iRacing. Very linear back then, but now it is so nuanced, such difficult decisions to be made, and it looks like it may well have turned the tide on a title here tonight. Joshua Wolf down the back end of the field here, James. He's the only one on dry tyres still in GTDM. Now finally Chris Sherburn and Dale Green are going to go and join him.
Yeah, the question will be, is he going to be able to jump them? That's the question. It's still quite far back.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you would have thought so. One of them's just hit their box now, Chris has. So that's going to be a 24-second stop. Josh is coming round. He should get ahead of him, which will put him in, what's that, going to be 7th in class for him. So he'll be down into 7th at the moment. But at the current state, he's got to try and get Morgan Smith, who's on wet still, and then everybody else above that is on dries. But yeah, and he is registering as obviously being he's registered as being a lap down at the moment as well.
He probably is. Pit stop costs you a lot round here. Is he a lap down? Yeah, he is a lap down.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Satterfield and Booth are both up in front, both class leaders, both up the road here. There is Booth. So, yeah, one lap down for Joshua Wolf. Luckily, there's no safety cars in this league to catch him one lap down, which is a positive thing. But look at the margin from Wolf to Hunter. That's what we're focusing on. If Ed Eisenring's going to finish second, then that is where Wolf needs to be. He needs to be 5th. And right now, he's 1 minute behind Hunter, as they both still have one more pit stop to go. I know that there's going to be a slightly shorter fuel fill from Wolf, unless he can make that fuel tank last all the way home, but that's going to be extremely, extremely difficult. And he's hoping really that Ed Eisenring loses a place and drops down into 3rd position, because at that point then a 6th place finish would be enough for Wolf, but only if Ed Eisenring finishes 3rd. There's a lot to think about here, and this championship is going to be settled by singular points, not tens of points, not hundreds of points, singular points involved here. And we've got tiebreakers as well, although the current situation they're in, it doesn't really look like they're going to be needed down at the very end of this championship. There is Ed Eisenring versus Miguel de Souza, who's also in a battle for 3rd in the championship of his own, by the way, that he'll really want to come out on top in. It's a tense situation, and I can't imagine Brandon being Ed Eisenring in this situation. Maybe he doesn't know the severity of it, but knowing that one positional loss could cost him a championship must be quite a feeling for him in the car at the moment.
Yeah, like I said, just going back to that mindset, you got to be composed. You got to, have the bigger picture in your mind, but don't get too caught up in a moment, because it's very easy to have an off-track mistake that could make that result harder.
What a fascinating situation we've got here at Road Atlanta. Final round of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge delivering for us here tonight. It's going to be a very exciting finale indeed, and would you believe it, one of the drivers not really involved in the GTD AM Championship might well be a big factor in deciding it. With Dale Green so far behind though, De Souza doesn't really have to worry about anybody else for 3rd in the championship. He's just going to get away with it, and he's going to be in the 3rd place by the end of the season almost no matter what here. So he doesn't need to get through into 2nd, but he is a race driver after all, and he will want to make the overtake, because he doesn't really want to sit there behind him all day long. A battle for the lead in 2 classes going on at the moment, GTP and LMP2. one of the closer GTP races we've seen all season, I would say, James, with Dornenberg now just being pegged back slightly by Dowd, who has a bit of miscommunication there with one of the Porsches. I think that was Nicholas Davis.
Yeah, I'm surprised he did that. I thought he might have stayed more on his line, but this is one of the closest battles in GTPs. The interesting thing for me as well is we were trying to work out second and third in the GTD AMs, Bradley Haley, Nick Davis. With only 3 cars on the grid that are in par, I don't think it's really going to matter. I think Haley's still going to take that second and Davis is going to grab the third. So I don't think there's enough cars to affect the GTD situation. I think they're going to be as they are. But here with Dowd, Dominic Dornenberg must have lost a little bit of time somewhere because he was flying ahead and now they've started going through traffic and stuff. He's lost a little bit of time bringing Nathan Dowd back into it.
I think you are right, by the way, on GTD, unless Davis gets all the bonuses, which doesn't. He did get 1 bonus for the fastest pole lap, so it's fastest race lap as well. Then they'll be tied if he wins and Haley's third. But anyway, it doesn't look like that's going to happen at the moment. Ross Booth is looking pretty comfortable at the front of the race. Overall, this is the battle, as I've said, in LMP2. It is Parker versus Assam, the only 2 drivers who've made the right call here at the start of this race. We said that it looked dry on the grid. It's impossible to know until you start driving, really, but it looks like these 2 have made the right decision, and it looks like they're going to have bought the right to fight it out for the win between themselves as well. If you were on the grid in that situation, though, Brandon, what would be the things you were looking towards at the start of that race to decide what tyres to drive on? Because, as I say, you can't do an out lap, a formation lap, or an installation lap like you might do in real life to figure out what the conditions might be. You've just got to sort of decide by looking at it.
One of the things I'm looking at right now is that right front on Mo's car, the fact that he's this close to the leader still. Usually that's a handful to drive, but he's making it work. I'm sure it's a little bit frustrating. Probably can't gain as much as he'd like to, but going back to your question, honestly, it just kind of goes back to testing trial and error and practice. You just kind of have to know. And not just in the practice here at Road Atlanta, but other tracks too, muscle memory. How does the track feel in similar circuits, whether a track is really wet, drying off. I think just that muscle memory of knowing, and then just the trust in the setup and yourself, right? Even if you do get it wrong, how long can you hang on to it still? But it's again, I'm sure those that did start on wets, I've made wrong decisions before too, so I know exactly how that feels, but you just never know when it's over. So I think just kind of having that mindset of persevering through it.
And I think it's different track to track, different series to series, but with the different cars that are on the circuit. Because I did a GT3, a Porsche GT3 only league actually last week at Imola, where it was not raining for an hour and the track still didn't dry off in time for dry tyres by the end of the race. It did start a lot wetter than what we started here, obviously, but you would have thought after an hour of about 35 drivers running round that it would have got dry enough, but it didn't in the end. It seems to be a little bit different condition and track to track as well, depending on a load of different things. It is so interesting to figure out, and such an exciting watch. We've had that excitement, now it's in the rearview mirror. Now we've got the battles that we're left with for GTP lead, but also LMP2 lead that we're following here as well. And you mentioned Morrison's front right damage. That is because of Carter Cunningham and his spin on the opening lap up at turn 2. Morrison didn't have any other choice than to hit him here, but would you expect that to be having more of a handling effect, an aero effect than it is at the moment, or is that the kind of damage you can get away with?
It looks to me he got away with it. I think it's doing more aero, if anything, maybe hurting the tires a little bit. But again, he's still within that tow range. If I was Mo, I'd definitely be fuel saving as much as I could just to kind of counterbalance with that repair time. Because I'm sure when the pit cycle happens, he's not going to leave that tow to Andrew Parker. So, yeah, again, damage like that, even the slightest amount can really affect the car. But, Mo's a good driver, man. He's been here before. He's been in this situation. And so is Andrew, right? Andrew's used to having pressure. Andrew has found himself in the front time and time again. But I think we'll see elbows out here.
We are, yep, and Parker additionally looking for a third place in the championship, has won 3 rounds ago, round 11 at Circuit of the Americas. That was nearly 2 months ago now, where he last took a victory. Andrew Parker. Sam has taken just the 1 this season, and that was quite a long time ago at Montreal now, end of January. So both of these two have had quite a long time between drinks, but it looks like it is going to be between one of them for the win. There's a look down the inside on a Porsche that probably wasn't delighted to see it, but no flash of the lights. Here come the leaders. There's Dominic Durnenberg down the inside, and LMP2s are being lapped for the first time inside half an hour here. So they will be lapped twice over the course of the day. Hasn't always happened that way this season. In fact, all 3 classes of car, at least specifications of car, are on your screen at the moment. Down the hill through the S's. They'll power through on a GT3 down the inside. I think that is Bradley Haley. Or it's Hunter in the other Mustang, one of the two. And they all power through in the end, and a gap extends to a second and a half. There's Joshua Wolf, still 1 lap down, James. He's in 6th at least now, but he's now in the horrible position of hoping Eisenring loses places.
Yeah, and that's somebody off the side of the circuit in the GTP. That's Dominic Durnenberg is off.
Oh, goodness me.
Was it his own doing?
Dominic Durnenberg. Oh, what is he doing? Here's side by side with the LMP2 leader. 2 class lead. Oh, he's made a mistake on the inside line. Just got on the brakes for turn 7. And that is Nathan Dowd with one of the easiest passes for the lead he'll ever make.
And that'll be the end of the GTP lead battle now, I think, because now we've got Robert Cass having a go with Trevor Borowski. They've not really left each other alone, and this is what I was talking about.
Oh, no!
Where are you going? Dude, it
Where
goes...
is he? What's happening here?
He just cooked
He's
it,
lost
I
some
think.
sort of... Has he got a technical issue, or what's going on here? It's incredible. Oh, and it's incredibly slippery pit lane. He very nearly hit the pit wall there. We'll watch out for that when the stops come. He did warn us about that half an hour ago, Brandon. The drivers weren't listening.
Damage something.
And Cass has got damage already. So something's gone on previous here. That's why he blew through the chicane. He's got damage here.
Yeah, he has got damage. I'm interested to see if we can find whereabouts that was and what he actually did.
Durnenberg's not got a rear wing. We didn't see that.
Hold on.
He's rejoined straight in the path of Cass, doesn't he? Oh, my goodness.
It looked like, yeah. It looked like just kind of misjudged
Oh,
to
he did.
rejoin.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Oh, my dearie me. That is something that we would not expect to see from the likes of Dominic Durnenberg. Literally just rejoined straight in front of him. Bang.
That's pretty bad. I mean, we talk about this all the time in commentary, Brandon, about rejoins and about it being a terrible rejoin or whatever. But how does a driver feel when A, it happens to you, because it must have done at some point. We've all driven in races. But B, when you accidentally done something like that yourself as well. What's the feeling as a driver? Do you get as wound up about it as some of us commentators do?
Well, I think if you kind of just put yourself in Dominic's shoes, I mean, you're leading the race, you're lapping ahead, you're kind of controlling your own pace, and then, again, like I was kind of mentioning earlier, you just find yourself in your own mistake, and then you're just kind of in a panic mode. Where are you on the track? You definitely don't want to ruin somebody else's race, but you want to safely rejoin, and sometimes you can just kind of misjudge that relative on your screen and think you have enough chance to rejoin, and you don't. Like you said, I've been that guy before. It's a real horrible feeling, but I kind of hate to see that for both of those two. They were having a good race.
Yeah. I can tell you there's bad news in the championship as well, by the way, for Composite Performance Platinum in the Teams Championship. Ryan Wasilewski's obviously not here, so it's all running on Cunningham and Davis now. Cunningham's obviously down the field as well, of course, because he made the wrong tyre call in LMP2, so at the moment he is looking pretty good for Sector 5 racing. Meanwhile, Caden Richardson, we were on board with him earlier, or he already had suspension damage, and I was trying to work out where it was from. I was looking away at the time that was all going on, by the way. Apologies for not seeing that at the time. Gets him on the curb, and he has a pretty big crash there.
That's out. That's out. Look at the state of that. It looks like a go-kart. Oh, he's going to be out, bro. By the time he gets back, I'll be interested to see if he's used his fast repair on that one. What's he going to have for the second one? That's going to be the question. Because I think they've only got one, haven't they, Brandon? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
We shouldn't. If we did, that was probably a session error.
No, they haven't got any. So he's going to be out. He ain't coming back from that.
Well, it looks like he's exited, doesn't it? Yeah, there you go. It says on the screen. He is out of the race. Chris Sherburn has jumped into YouTube chat. I was about to say, unfortunately, that sounds a bit rude, but he was driving earlier on. He is, in the wall down here, and unfortunately, that's his battle for third in the championship over, as he mentioned. It's this turn 5 again. Oh, someone's gone off in front of it, and it's a 2-car accident down there in GTD-AM. It's Mark Kudrowski in the Audi, who's just lost it on the outside line, and he's come straight into Sherburn, who was pretty close in behind, but he didn't have time to avoid. There you go, there's the smash. And, well, both of them are going to be down on pit lane having some pretty long repairs. It's turn 5 that's reared its head twice in the last few minutes, actually, here, Brandon.
Yeah, it's a rough situation, just kind of being a bystander like that. But not much you could have done, honestly. So, can't, in the moment, I'm sure he's beating himself up a little bit, but his team around him kind of pick him back up. There's not much he could have done, honestly.
It's a shame for Chris Sherburn. He was in a battle for the third place in the championship with Rico de Souza and Dale Green. He would have had to finish ahead of both of those two. And after his tyre call earlier, that was looking unlikely, but it's certainly confirmed now. Joshua Wolf, meanwhile, is up to 5th place in the next few moments. I'm trying to work out quite why that is. Most recent stop was for Morgan Smith. Mark Kudrowski, I suppose, he must have made his pit stop, then come out and then had that incident. So as things stand, Wolf is in championship winning position in 5th place now. All of a sudden it's changed on its head here, James, because of, again, incidents outside of either of their hands.
Yeah, it definitely has at the moment, and we're going to find out how Wolf does move up, whether or not it's going to affect him sitting in the championship. Where is he? 5th in class at the moment. So if obviously he goes to 5th, he will take it by 1.
Okay, well, let's see if that holds, because Ed Eisenring's just set the fastest lap of the race. So they're now tied. We'll try and keep you updated and try and work it out over the course of the day, because they're absolutely level. With the first tiebreaker, if Ed Eisenring doesn't win this race, then Joshua Wolf would win the tiebreaker, because he's currently won more races. But obviously, if Ed Eisenring wins this race, then he would tie that. This is all getting a bit much. We'll try and work it out over the course of the day. But it's a tense situation here, Brandon. I don't know how many championship finale situations like this you've been involved with as a driver, but how difficult is it to know what the actual situation is? Because we have quite a hard time where we're watching the race and not concentrating on driving. I can't imagine what it's like for these guys who are trying to go quick at the same time.
Yeah, he could. Some like to be really aware of the outcome situations, right? Or some just kind of like to vaguely know, just they have to have a good result, of course, but I'm sure Josh Wolf has found some motivation again, knowing that he's right back up around that top 5 area. But of course he's going to need more help from those in front to gain some more ground again. And same with Ed, right? Ed has to keep his eyes up forward and keep the car on the track. But with the field spreading out like this, I would think maybe that damage limitation is almost over, but again, we just don't know. We saw single car accidents happen and turn into involving bystanders, so we just don't know, right? I mean, this is the finale. Some people have nothing to lose.
Unfortunately, Chris Sherburn has just told us that there's got 20 more minutes to repair as well. There's just over 20 minutes of racing left here, unfortunately, so that's going to be his season completed, which is a real shame for him. Just seen a couple of incidents in the last couple of months for Trevor Vavrovsky and for Mo Islam as well, who have found themselves off the road, and Vavrovsky's gone straight back to pit lane, so we'll get a replay of that in a few moments' time, but we'll have to wait for a moment for that to load up. Same for Islam as well. It looks like Islam has got out on the on new tyres, because he's just made a stop, and well, whether he's on new tyres or not, getting back up to speed again seems to have been his downfall this time round. And if Parker can just get a better run through the pit stop phase, including a better outlap, then he could be well in the lead of this race to a pretty big margin at the end of this race. Who do you fancy at the moment to win in LMP2? It really is between Parker and Islam. Maybe after that mistake, it's just shifted towards Parker.
I noticed when Andrews found himself leading, he's a little, I think, less prone to make mistakes rather than when he's midfield. But I like Andrew right now. I think he can, with Andrew seeing that Mo on his relative, I'm sure he can kind of look like he just went in the pit road if I'm not mistaken. He can kind of ease a little bit on the track. Doesn't have to push, right? But just consistent. Maybe some moves in traffic he doesn't necessarily need to make. But yeah, I think Mo's kind of. If I know Mo well, he's definitely not giving up, but maybe kind of understanding the situation he's in right now.
You are right. Parker's just making a pit stop right now, so we'll check in and see whether he's going to come out in front or not. It is going to be new tyres, and Moisam is going to be well behind him here because of that mistake. We'll get a look at what it was for Moisam in a few moments' time, but this rejoin so far is going to be going the way of Parker. This is it through turn 6 and 7. A little bit wide over the curb. It's the classic error. Was that any? Can we blame the tyres this time round, Brandon, not being warmed up, or was that just a mistake?
I think a little bit of both. Usually you do want to ride that. You can ride that curb, but you have to get it just right.
Speaking of not getting it right, that is Vavrovsky and the very American. That's the most American vehicle I think I've ever seen. He's unfortunately damaged it though through the S's. This is Robert Cast and how he got. Oh, whoa, hello. He was just out the pit lane after some damage earlier, and he's avoided damage that time round. He will be up to third if he stays on the road and keeps racing, but he's gotten away with on there. Now, Adam Satterfield has been losing quite a lot of time in the lead of GTD-AM, and suddenly that championship battle might well just be reignited here, and it's because of this. It's a big twitch through turn 1. Ed Eisenring needs these points. He needs to get back into first. And at the moment, James is homing back into view. And there goes the spin for Satterfield. Wow, as we've been looking at those replays, Ed Eisenring is back into championship winning position.
Yeah, there was a couple of obviously things went on, and Eisenring at the moment is still in first place, which is basically 2 points ahead if he stays where he is at the moment. It'll be on the fastest lap as well. Who's got the fastest lap? 1:19.25 for Ed, and Satterfield's got the fastest lap overall, 19.18. So neither of them are going to get that point. But I don't.
Yes, you are right. Sorry, it's
D'Souza, yeah, 18.9, sorry on that one. But yeah, at the moment, Eisenring's in a great place with Miguel D'Souza tucked in behind. Leaders of GTP in the pits, Dowd and also Adolfo Perez have come in together. Dowd's going to escape first, mind you. Not a good day for GTPs. There's only 2 remaining. Everybody else is in pit lane. Vavosky, Cass and Dorenberg, well, I think they're all out, to be blatantly honest.
Okay.
Those GT3s are going to have to worry about. Have to deal with the cold tire GTPs, as those they're just as slow as the GT3s with those cold tires. So looks like they're not necessarily in the way, but it's just something that kind of could be a factor here.
Yeah. Dowd is sat right in front of an LMP2 at the moment. I think it's Carter Cunningham actually, and he will be right as slow as Cunningham there, who in turn will be as slow as that GT3 that's right in behind them as well. Not anymore, they've got on the straight, but and there goes the Acura off like a rocket ship out of the turn 7 right-hander. But yeah, it is a real treacherous time, and you're right, it is really bringing these lap times close together when they have to make pit stops and outlaps on cold tyres like that. So the pit stops are happening in GTD-AM. The order's going to go a bit weird in the meantime. I think Josh Wolf is going to need an extra splash later on. I can't imagine he's going to make it home after 50 minutes of driving on a tank in GTD. We'll see about that, and it might help his race if he could do. But at the moment, he is losing this championship by 2 points to Ed Eisenring. What an extraordinary championship for Lally we're having in GTD-AM. Out of the final corner, over the rise, and they're both in here. Now watch this pit entry. It's a bit wetter than the rest of the circuit, so you've got to make sure you don't hit the wall down here, but they've done it expertly well. Now, how's this for a high-stakes pit stop here, James? This season is riding on it now for Ed Eisenring. He needs to come out ahead. Yeah,
he definitely does, and whereas Wolf is going to basically effectively get his lap back, because he's going to unlap himself here. So he will get back onto the lead lap. Satterfield still in pit lane. He's going to jump him.
Long
It's
stop.
a long stop for Satterfield. I think possibly the fact that he might be getting repairs on the damage from what happened, but it's over 1 minute and 30 at the moment. And for these guys, I think there is a possibility that Wolf is a little bit far back from Hunter, 18 seconds, so we'll have to pull him out straight. They go back to the fuel cycle as well. It was on 45 minutes he went into pit lane, so by the time he's taken on that, he's probably got about 43 minutes on the fuel. Generally, they've got 65% to start off with. Could just be about long enough for Wolf. Might have to fuel save a lap or so, but we're going to find out how he gets on.
It looks like Miguel, it looks like Ed just managed to stay within the. No, Miguel. Yeah, Miguel came out, just managed to stay in that toe, so not completely out of it as far as getting that position gain, but we'll have to see, because again, we do have cold tires, so who can get their tires up to temperature the quickest?
It is, at the moment, going to Ed Eisenring, the championship, on countback of number of third-place finishes. That's how close this is getting, because they're tied on points right now. This is not enough for Joshua Wolf. Even fourth place, with Ed Eisenring winning, it suddenly gets really hard for Joshua Wolf for him to actually win this title. He needs to be on the podium, and as you said earlier, James, Hunter's a long way ahead here of Joshua Wolf, so it's getting really difficult for him to win the championship in this situation, even though Adam Satterfield has dropped all the way down. It's absolutely imperative that Eisenring wins, and it's imperative that Wolf doesn't get the fastest lap point as well if you're Ed Eisenring in this situation. At the moment, they're tied on points. That would also bring them tied on race wins and second places, and then number of third places would go to Ed Eisenring on countback. I can't remember if I've ever seen a championship settled quite like that, James.
No, not that far back, not on that many countbacks. We can't even get it on wins, we can't even get it on seconds. It's had to go right the way back down to thirds. The interesting thing, the gap up front's come down by 1.8 seconds to Shane Hunter. So I'll keep an eye on his lap time here. Whether or not he's going to be able to do it is going to be interesting, but it's going to be lap 30 will be the telltale lap here for these guys to see where we're at on rough pace. So we'll keep an eye out from Wolf and Hunter and see where they end up.
And look at Eisenring and D'Souza, by the way, and how close they are through the end of another lap for them. This is extremely... Oh, the start of it, quite a new lap, actually, for them, I should say. Oh, no, I was right the first time. They are just coming over the line. It's really, really close between these two. And Eisenring has to win. He can't afford to come second and then win the title. He's not going to get down to that countback, and it wouldn't matter anyway, because he would be a few points behind, with Joshua Wolf recovering quite well to fourth position here. So Ed Eisenring has to win this race. He's got 17 and a half minutes to soak up the pressure here, Brandon. It's going to be the longest quarter of an hour of his life.
Yeah, just the main thing is to, keep your eyes forward, right? You don't want to be driving in your mirrors, because that's when mistakes can happen, or just the lap time you start to drop off. But even if you are realizing you're a bit down in pace compared to your competitor, you just want to hit your mark, stay consistent, and then, all right, of course, get defensive. You don't want to just give up the position that quick, but you want to make them earn it. So I think we'll see some elbows out here.
We are certainly going to. This is Morgan Smith in the turn 5 section again.
He put him straight back into pit lane as well. If you have a look on the air, he hit the wall on the exit of 5. He bounced over the curb, and then he goes and hits the wall there, bang, and then around he goes. Yep. And that puts Smith in pit lane. So that's another one down in pit lane. The pit lane's fuller than the racetrack, near enough.
It is full of GTD AMs, actually. Half of their field is gone now. And that's, would be bad news for Ed Eisenring. It means, at the moment, though, Wolf still needs a third place in the current situation, because Ed Eisenring is doing so well. That's how important the race win is here from this situation. What a tense situation we've got here in this race at the moment. In the Teams Championship, by the way, it doesn't look like it is going to change hands here today. Sector 5 Racing, with Nathan Dow getting a first place finish Haley's getting third, even though he's last in the class. And Joshua Wolf is getting a top 5 now as well. It should be a team's title for them. Robert Cast is going to be in third place himself. Carter Cunningham is third as well. And then down in the GTTs, Nicholas Davis is in second. So it might actually be quite close. But in terms of what they're going to score today, I should say. But they need to overhaul 5.3 points, don't forget. And that could be quite tricky. I'll do the actual maths in a few moments' time, but that could get complicated. And of course, pit stops are not quite done yet here. How many more pit stops are we expecting here, Brandon? We saw Wolf come in with about 45 minutes to go. Does he need to stop again? Do the LMP2s need to stop again, do you think?
You know, I know GT3s can go a lot longer than the Protos. I don't want to be completely wrong, but I would say close to that hour mark, if my memory serves me well. But I'm not sure again. And then, of course, if he's good at fuel saving, maybe it's a little bit different. But you know, we're coming down to the end here, so we'll have to just kind of watch that pit lane.
That's the thing for me. It's normally round that 40-minute mark. Every time we watch it, it's 40 to 43 general minutes with the pit stops at 65%. So I think he's got to do a lap. I think he's got to try and save a lap of fuel here. Question will be whether or not he is. Oh, bro, he is. He is fuel saving. Yeah, he is off the throttle. He's clutching in. He's fuel saving his head off at the moment to try and not get that stop in. That could explain why he's not catching Hunter.
And I'm sure he was doing that long before this stop cycle happened. Because if you are going to fuel save, it really helps to do that early on in a stint, just to ensure you hit that number you need.
Yeah, he's doing it every corner.
Watch how little fuel he uses down the hill there, using gravity, by the way, just to try and help him down the hill. Only problem, the GTVs are so fast these days, they have a good time through the S's now. Now then, he can't really put his trust into Miguel de Souza too much, because he's just gone off at the top of the hill. I think he just went wide at turn 1, maybe. That is a big moment for this race and this championship. Ed Eisenring was already starting to just pull that margin out slightly, and Miguel de Souza's just made it a lot bigger here. He goes wide, just gets on that curb. He can't afford to get on it. He's lost even more time. He's in the grass now, and he gets back on again, but he's going to go nearly straight off again. Look at the gap, 2 or 3 seconds. Now, Joshua Wolf doesn't have a choice, as we've already talked about. He's losing time to Hunter, but he doesn't really have a choice here. He's got to save the fuel, otherwise making a pit stop, it's just going to be even worse for him to get that extra fuel in and come back out onto the circuit again. He might not even still be in 4th place. He has got to just save the fuel. That means he can't get 3rd himself. He's got to hope, James, that Miguel de Souza wins this race somehow. The championship is not in his hands.
No, it's not at the moment, and I don't know if he'd catch Dale, if Dale Green is 27 seconds behind. So even if he did go in, you are right, I think he would roughly just about come out behind him. But it's quite interesting here as well, because this is one of the moments that as a driver you really don't want, when you can't do nothing about the championship. You've got to just sit back and hope, and that. Oh no,
he's gone. Joshua Wolf hits the wall as well. Is that going to be damage for the championship leader? Is that going to be the title slipping away? It already has been. Looks like he's gotten away with it, but goodness me, that can't be helping. And if we're talking about fuel saving here, Brandon, surely that is not going to be great either, having to do a donut getting back onto the circuit again.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to help, because I was just going to say Miguel's probably backed off, and a scare like that run off track. That's got to be frustrating for Joshua Wolf again. Those emotions probably just did a complete 360 of knowing, no, I just got a fuel save, to now I've just made another mistake. What's this going to do to my race? We got just under 11 minutes to go here.
Yes, mate. This is the moment.
Must have caught the curb. Yep. And this is one of these things. Every time I come to this circuit, I turn around and say, turn 5, you cannot half-heart that curb. you've either got to take all of it or you've got to leave it alone. You can't do that. You can't just stick 2 wheels on it and hope the car's going to survive. It's got to be all or it's got to be none. And a few people have gone half it today and they've ended up paying the price for it, and that was one of them. It's got to be all of it. You've either got to stick 4 wheels clean over the top of it, or you've just got to leave it the hell alone, because otherwise you do that and that's going to happen every single time.
That's really it. I mean, we see it in the real IMSA races, right? We've seen P2s go off because of that, and GT3s because of that. So it's just really a tricky corner, and it's so much time to lose if you don't get it right. So it's kind of like a risk-reward kind of limitation thing.
And De Souza's just gone off again through that very same corner. The championship may well have been decided by turn 5 at Road Atlanta in the space of 2 laps. Last lap it was Josh Wolff going round for a spin. This time round it's Miguel De Souza. He's got the inside curve this time, not the outside, and he's hit the wall pretty hard there. That Porsche's gone in pretty hard. Only a crash now for Ed Eisenring is going to take this championship away from him.
Wow. This is like a roller coaster for us. It's going to be a heck of a roller coaster for Josh Wolff. He 1 minute's got control, he's in pit lane, he's not going to make it on fuel either.
Wow.
So it's whether or not he's going to come out in front of Dale Green. As he said, he may realise that it's not in his hands now, because we were on count back to third. Who got the most third places, and Dale Green now is just going to go and slip straight past him. That's going to put Wolff 5th in class. He's going to lose the championship by 3 points at the moment, and well, it ain't going to matter if he gets to pass his lap, to be blatantly honest, because he lost it already.
Yeah, in 4th place, Wolff could have still won with fastest lap. And so that's what I was sort of thinking. Is he going to save all the fuel up for one last lap, maybe, to try and get fastest lap? Now, I don't think he's shown the speed here this afternoon so far that he could maybe do that, but I think that was his only hope. He wasn't going to get 3rd, which is the other thing he required, so it had to be fastest lap. Ed Eisenring has got fastest lap at the moment, but he doesn't really need it. He's got it as a bonus, really. He's got it by about 0.5 of a second ahead of Miguel De Souza. He might not be taking that off him right now. So suddenly it's switched around and the gap's now 3 points. And Eisenring has pulled off the most extraordinary comeback here. He's gained 10 points this afternoon and he has got this title at the moment going his way. An extraordinary turnaround when you consider what happened last week. He lost 20 points in last week's race to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park when Joshua Wolff got a very rare full 29 points. You very rarely see that. Even the most dominant drivers like Pat Pelchat, Ross Boove, etc. have not been able to do that very often this season. Right when he needed it most, Wolff got 29 points last week, or 2 weeks ago rather. It came after a couple of rounds of losing points at Sebring and Circuit of the Americas, but it's just been constantly flip-flopping. The week before that, Wolff gained, then Eisenring the week before that. Actually 2 weeks in a row, but he wasn't there the week before that. So it's just been absolutely topsy-turvy, and to get to the end of a season like this in this situation is pretty remarkable. I mean, I think you mentioned it before, Brandon, this roller coaster of emotions that Josh Wolff would have been on this evening is quite extraordinary, and unfortunately it's going to be the wrong outcome for him, and especially at the end of a long and roller coaster season like it's been for them, it's going to be very, very disappointing for him.
Right, that's exactly that, and I think Wolff's only hope will probably be Bradley to make a mistake, just trying to catch Nicholas to get P2 here, but most are probably just accepting that this is where they're going to finish, just want to bring it home after seeing a lot of others' races come to an end prematurely. It's usually the mindset you have of a driver, especially just kind of understanding your own race situation. Yeah, what a race this has been, huh?
Agreed.
I hope you're pleased you didn't drive in it this afternoon. We'll see. That's the fastest lap, by the way, in each of the classes. Eisenring is indeed the fastest driver so far in GTD. Getting quite dark this evening as well, by the way. The overcast conditions not helping with visibility. The headlights now making an impression on the road as well, Ed Eisenring's not bothered turning them on, but 7 p.m. It's quite dark for April, 7 p.m. this, but anyway, as I mentioned, the clouds are out, and that is certainly affecting things. The track temperature's also going up. It's gone up by 2 degrees Celsius over the course of an hour, which is pretty steep at this time in the evening. You don't normally see see that. Normally it's cooling down by this time, but sun setting on a great season here, James. This is the perfect end, I think, in terms of drama. Not perfect if you're Joshua Wolf, of course, but in terms of drama, we couldn't have asked for much more out of this final race of the season.
Oh, dude, we've had it all. It started right at the grid. Who's on the right tyre choice? Well, it turns out it was the dries. But yeah, it's been drama all the way through, and Wolf, the only bit he might regret, apart from obviously coming out of turn 5 spinning, would be the fact that he didn't go in earlier. If he went in as soon as he knew it was dried, he should have gone in straight away, not left it 15 minutes or whatever it was. So that's the only thing I think he might regret. You can't regret a season like this between these two. They have had an epic battle, and let's not forget, we've been going since September, right? All the way back in September last year. To get to here and to be within, what's it going to be, 3 points of the championship win? Man, that's unheard of. Even in anything in real life, that is unheard of, to go this amount of time in a championship and be within 3 points. That's just nuts. And unfortunately for Carter Cunningham, however, he was cheering everybody on, wanting them to come out for the race. But all we've seen at the moment is poor old Carter do crazy mistakes, and he's going to do another one.
He's not had an easy end to the season.
That's
wow.
That's an outlap as well, by the way. Just like to point that out.
That's the lead we just span in front of, by the way. And Nathan Dowd has been losing quite a lot of time in the last few moments. Last time round, he was a couple of attempts quicker, but that's not been the general trend of things. 2.5 seconds, 4 minutes to go. Could be 4 laps around this circuit. You get a lot of laps in very quickly around here. So Nathan Dowd under pressure. It doesn't necessarily his team need it for the team's title, but especially with Cunningham spinning again there, down in 4th place. But it's not a position he'd really like to lose at the moment, this one, Nathan Dowd. By the way, the top 2 teams in the Teams Championship are going to pretty much score the same today, so it looks like it is going to go to Nathan Dowd and the rest of them, and I'm not sure they'll be pleased about that. 4 laps still to go then. They have got enough time remaining, and the entire GTD Amfield is just up ahead of them here. Dale Green and Joshua Wolf are going to be overtaken on this lap by the look of things from Dowd, just up in front of them. De Souza is next, and then on the lap after that, probably Ed Eisenring is going to be overtaken before the end. So it's a classic situation here, Brandon. GTP traffic towards the end of the race, and they've only got 2.5 seconds between them.
Yeah, I've just kind of been looking at that as well. It looks like Nathan and Adolfo have been kind of trading laps here. There's one lap Adolfo's quicker, one lap Nathan's quicker, but I think that's all tied into who's been affected by GT3 traffic. I definitely know Adolfo's not giving up, settling for a 2nd place when he can see the leader right in front of him. Just watching, I'm sure he's got a track map on his screen to see where he might be able to get a competitive advantage on Nathan as well. One of the other things too with these updates is it's no longer Acura Cup, right? It's pretty balanced out as far as different manufacturers for GTP here. So yeah, I can't say that that Nathan's got it in the bag, but you know, AP's definitely going to give it his all coming to the end here.
We've had a pit stop in GTD, and by the way, Dale Green has put Joshua Wolf back into 4th place now, and all of a sudden, a fastest lap of this race would give Joshua Wolf the championship. He has got to just focus on setting the best lap of the race, because he's not going to catch that 1 minute up to Hunter in the Mustang. So where is he in terms of traffic? There he is. He's got the LMP2s all right behind him. That's not going to be ideal at all. He'll have 2 more laps after this one to set a fastest lap of the race, and he will win the title, James. That is how extraordinary this is. A 19.4 for him last time round. He's going pretty quickly. Who knows? I think if he gets his fastest lap, I might lose my mind.
Yes. That would be absolutely nuts, wouldn't it? Is it 2 points for fastest lap? It must be.
It's 1 point, but obviously you take it away from Eisenring and give it to himself. So it's effectively a 2-point game.
So he's got to go and get the fastest lap of the race. Oh my God, if he absolutely nails this.
Oh, he's got a personal best as well. He just did a personal best. He's still 4 tenths away. He needs to find nearly half a second, but he just set a personal best. He is motoring here, and he's got the LMP2s right behind him. So this is not a great place to be if you are looking for the fastest lap because of the LMP2s just in behind. This next one shouldn't affect him too much. And as a GTD, you can alleviate some of the traffic problems, but this is high-stakes stuff here, Brandon. He's got to figure out how he can just go that little bit quicker here.
And he might have a little bit of toe here with being able to get past on the straight like that. So it could help him out. I'm sure these tires aren't as new as he'd like them to be to easily get that lap. But yeah, I'm sure he's, like I said, I'm sure he's aware of some factors that he needs to help him get this spot in the championship. So he's got to bring it together here the last couple of corners. Not sure how much tire life he has, but have to see coming to the line.
Do or die.
It is. This is absolutely it. And he might be ruining the fact that he didn't take new tyres as well, because he certainly had the time to do it. The white flag's been taken. It's about to be taken by Joshua Wolf here as he goes over the line. What's the time going to be? It's not quite as quick. He was 2 cents slower than his personal best. He needs to go nearly 3/4 of a second quicker on that singular lap there. And there's traffic already on this lap as well. It might be the end. We'll check back in with them a little bit later as the battle for the lead just comes onto the back straight for the final time now. Nathan Dowd looks like he's going to take race victory here in an extraordinary final race at Road Atlanta. It's going to be second place in the championship for him here this season after a slew of second places throughout the season. In fact, in the second half, in this North American second leg, he's finished second 5 times out of the last 6. Well, he's finally going to get to the end of this season with a race victory in the second half, and it's going to be Nathan Dowd who wins the finale race in the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge for season 14. 2.5 seconds is winning margin ahead of Adolfo Perez, who pushed him all the way to the line in the end. Further behind, the LMP2 leader, Andrew Parker, is just in front of Joshua Wolf, who could steal a championship away in a few moments. Parker, though, is going to take the win in LMP2, and with it, he's going to take 3rd place in the LMP2 championship as well. Is there going to be a late change in the GTD AM championship? It will be the most extraordinary turnaround here for Joshua Wolf, who crosses the line right now, and it's not enough. He's not quick enough. And Ed Eisenring, as long as he makes it to the finish line here, and who can rule anything out in the race we've just seen? He's got to make it to the finish line, and then he'll be champion. Just coming over the line in GTD, meanwhile, is Ross Booth. Another great victory in a brilliant season from him. Pretty much faultless throughout. That's 3 in a row now for him. And in his last 5 appearances in a row, he didn't appear at Circuit of the Americas, but last times he's attended, he's won each and every of those 5 times. Ed Eisenring, meanwhile, has seen all his rivals cross the line. He's going to get fastest lap point as a bonus here. It doesn't matter that he's got it, but he has. And he is going to win this GTD AM Championship by turning the tide on a big deficit, gaining 8 points this afternoon. And he is going to win the GTD AM Championship by just 1 point.
Wow. Mate, if I was Josh Wolf and if I had anything left, I would have just gone full bore on that. Absolutely full bore. That was nuts. He had 2 laps and he didn't need the traffic in and around him for Josh Wolf. He needed everybody just almost leave him alone. And he just couldn't get the run. He was close, but he had to get it on that final lap. Nuts. Absolute crazy race.
Wow. Extraordinary end to the championship season. And it is Nathan Dowd who takes victory this time around. Only 2 on the lead lap in the end. 2.5 seconds back was Adolfo Perez. Andrew Parker won in LMP2 pretty comfortably in the end ahead of Moe Sam. Robert Tinsley and Carter Cunningham made the wrong tyre choice early on, so that's where they were so far behind. Ross Booth wins in GTD ahead of Nicholas Davis and Bradley Haley, who are going to stay in their championship positions. Haley's going to stay ahead of Davis. They'll be 2nd and 3rd. Ed Eisenring, though, is our GTD AM champion by just 1 point. My goodness, what an extraordinary season. Robert Cast actually finished in between them. Then it was Miguel de Souza in 2nd and Shane Hunter on the podium. Joshua Wolf needed that podium, but the wrong tyre choice initially just set the wrong tone for his race, unfortunately. Dale Green was next ahead of Morgan Smith. None of these actually got to the finish. Morgan Smith, Adam Satterfield, Trevor Vavrosky as well. who we saw towards the back end with Dominic Turnerberg crashing in GTP. Caden Richardson did as well. He drops outside the top three in the LMP2 Championship as a result. Kudrowski and Sherburn crashed together and they were out the race early. Fozzie Fazzillo and Dominic Zioli didn't take part in this race, unfortunately, despite logging into the session earlier on. Well, what a finale that was. I mean, give us your thoughts, Brandon, at the end of that one, the final race of the season. Just everything that we could have hoped for there and more, I suppose.
Yeah, a lot of leaving it all out on the track, nothing to lose. Some looking for best result of the season, some just kind of seeing what happens, but definitely not the kind of race I thought we were going to have. Just kind of unaware of the weather, but that's what rain can do. And I hate that some of those gambles didn't pay off early on. I think we may have been robbed a little bit more of a thriller with the wrong tire choice, but yeah, definitely it was definitely exciting to watch.
Well, if there's any consolation,
Absolutely.
I don't feel robbed, Brandon. I've got to be honest. I think that was just one of the thrills and spills of the last race of the season. That's what you would want from a race.
Yes, it's got winners and losers to it, and certainly Joshua Wolf, one of the big losers of the day, losing the championship like that, and he'll feel that it is a shame that it was it's partly down to the weather as well. But these are the way things go, and yeah, we were thoroughly enjoying it from a pure spectacle point of view. Anyway, there's only one man to chat to first, and that is Ed Eisenring. Since we've been focusing on him most of the day, we'll chat to him first as well here tonight. Ed, congratulations on the race win here, and congratulations on taking the title by just 1 point at the end here at. How are you feeling after that race?
Oh, wow, I wasn't aware of that. So it was so close. I wasn't aware if I was able to get enough points at the end. The race was good. Had a nervous start. I had a wrong setup in quali, but was able to put it on P2 and in class, and it was a kind of a gamble. You might have heard the other guys well on the what do you do, dry tires or wet tires, and just gambled correctly, I think. And Josh, I'm not sure what happened to him. I need to touch base with him, but it's an awesome race.
It was a tie difference between the two. You chose the dries, and it turned out to be the correct call. He chose the wets, and so that's why he was so far behind initially. I can tell you, by the way, since you're not aware, you won the championship by just 1 point. We were following Wolf at the end to see if he'd take fastest lap, because not only would that add him a point to his tally, it would have taken the fastest lap away from you, and it would have won him the title, but he couldn't get there in the end. So you've taken it by a singular point.
Wow, I'm spinning here, man. That's good news.
it was high drama, that's for sure.
It's a long season, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a long season. Yeah.
Tell us about that tyre choice that you made at the start of the race, and how you made it in the end.
I was really I could have started wet as well. It's just I loaded wet tires, and then I saw very lightly wet, and I thought, what can I lose? I need to gamble, so I tried to use the dries and try to get through the first 4 or 5 laps, and then I knew the forecast there was no further rain coming, so if I would come through the first 4 or 5 laps, I feel confident in a good result, and it appeared that way. So really happy.
Well, congratulations on the title here tonight in such dramatic circumstances. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, you guys, of course. I've been following the broadcast a couple of times. The season, it's a long season. Thanks for what you've been doing. My team Imperial, Chris and Leaf, and the other team I'm very closely connected with, the CP team and the sponsors. So thanks everybody for helping me become a better driver every day. So appreciate that.
Well, thanks so much for coming to chat to us, Ed, and congratulations on the title.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That is Ed Eisenring there, who wins tonight and wins the title as well. It's his first win since January, by the way. My goodness, it couldn't have come at a better time for Ed Eisenring. Let's go to the overall lead now and do our normal business as we chat to Nathan Dowd, the overall winner tonight. Congratulations, Nathan. The pressure was being put on you at the end there. 2.5 seconds the gap. Were you ever concerned you might lose the lead in the final laps there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly concerned, but I mean, he was definitely keeping me honest there. I felt like I was getting some red shells thrown at me with Carter spin right there in front of me, and a couple of traffic moments. But so I definitely gave up some time. I was probably being a little overly cautious with the gap, but I mean, I wasn't that much faster than him in the end, so it definitely got a little tighter than I was wanting it to. But yeah, we got it done in the end.
It was a close finish, and it's your first win for a little while as well. Just tell us about what the season has been like, especially from a team's perspective as well. I'm not sure how much you were focused on that tonight, but we believe anyway you've pretty much matched each other first and second in the team's championship tonight in terms of how many points you scored. So we're pretty sure that Sector 5 Racing will have taken the team's championship as well. How much of a factor has that been in your thinking this season as a driver yourself?
Yeah, we were following it pretty closely. It's I think you're right. I think we should be all right there. We had a big enough buffer coming in, and we all had decent finishes. So yeah, that's awesome. We we're just we're not a super overly competitive group. We're just kind of having fun together, and this is a fun series to run in with those guys. So yeah, I mean, just doing pretty much all the rounds. I think we only had a few drops throughout the year that helped us a lot compared to the other teams. But yeah, I mean, I think it shows that overall as a team, we I think we had a really good year. Obviously, if we're winning the team championship, that must be true. Josh, I think missed. Sounds like he might have missed the AM championship by 1 point there or so, which is unfortunate. But he had an amazing year too. Him and Ed were neck and neck the entire year. That whole AM division points was really exciting to watch. And then and Brad came in. I'm not sure if he got P2 for the pro. I think he probably did. Yeah, he got P3 today. So yeah, a good points finish for him too. So yeah, just a great year for us overall. And then shout out also to Chris Sherburne, Dale Green running with us, kind of in our Discord and hanging out with us as we run too. And yeah, it was a really fun year.
Absolutely. You actually extended the lead by 0.3 tonight. So, yeah, definitely teams championships has gone to you guys. Is there anybody else? I know you just listed a few there. Is there anybody else you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I mean, Carter for putting together the season. He does a good job. This is my second year running with this league, and it's always been really fun. And then the rest of the Sector 5 guys that weren't running in this series with us, but running with us in some other series and special events here and there. And then you guys for doing a good job on the broadcast. I like to catch it when I can afterwards, so you always put on a good show. And yeah, so hopefully be back next year for another fun year.
Absolutely. It's good to chat to you again, Nathan. Congratulations on the win, and thanks for chatting to us at the end of the race as well.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks very much, Nathan Dowd there, the overall winner. Let's go to LMP2 now, and Andrew Parker, who's taken victory tonight. Congratulations, Andrew, on LMP2 victory and third place in the championship as well. As a result, how did you find the race out there?
I didn't know how it was going to be in the beginning, seeing that it was slightly wet. I was like, I'm going to take a chance to see how it goes. But it paid off.
You thought taking dries was taking a chance, because Ed said the same thing. I thought that taking wets was a bit of a gamble, personally.
I was kind of looking at some of the telemetry. I'm like, I don't think it's that bad for wets. Let's just try dries, and then I got the shot, and then had to fight a little bit, and then I got around.
But it certainly paid off in the end. How would you describe your season as a whole? Because you've had wins throughout. This is not your first win by any means. That's your third win in 5 races. But how would you describe it overall? Inconsistent, maybe? What would you say?
A little bit of prep, and then some bad luck, especially last one at Mosport. That was not good, but overall, I mean, it's my first season. I enjoyed it. A lot of learning, and especially with the changes with the tires, how to get used to that again. It was interesting, and I actually had fun. I might be back next year.
Well, it'd be good to have you back. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'd like to thank P1 Docs, Tam Liveries, Grid, SimLab, and everyone over at Composite Performance.
Thanks very much for coming to chat to us, Andy, and congratulations on the LMP2 win.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andrew Parker, the LMP2 winner tonight in GTD. It's a familiar face who has taken victory again. Ross Booth, our champion. We already knew that, but race winner tonight as well. Congratulations, Ross. How was the race? You were behind Nicholas Davis for quite a while. It ended up in front by the end. Just tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, I think qualifying was the most interesting part. If I'm being honest, with the track drying and qualifying, it really depended on when you got on to basically got onto the right tire at the right time, and that's Nick timed it perfectly with how the session was timed out, and yeah, just biding my time behind Nick, waiting for him to bobble a little bit. Is really hard to pass here, especially when you're following this similar in the same car. Basically, you're basically down the straightaway the same speed. So just sort of hoping for him to make a mistake. Was finally able to have a good enough run out of turn 7 to shoot it up the inside into going into 10 there, and I think we were door to door for half a lap or so, and yeah, I was able to get by him, and off away we go.
How could this season have been any better for yourself? You've won 10 races. You haven't even been at all of them. You missed a round as well. But 10 race wins out of 13 appearances will give you. I mean, how could this have been any better for you? And how have you kept motivated as well, even in these final few rounds when you've known that the title was already sewn up mathematically?
It's really just the mindset we have here at Composite. We just don't want to give up. We always want to show up with our best stuff each and every race. So working together with the guys, coming prepared, and seeing how it lays out. Had a really good season. Thankful for that. Shout out to Nicholas and Brad and Zioli, and all the other GT Pro guys that kept coming out. Very competitive field this year. Just was a click ahead this season.
Well, congratulations on another win tonight, Ross. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, just shout out to Carter. He does an awesome job here at the Autobahn Sportscar Series. Hopefully next season we get some more people out here to really enjoy the really good racing that Autobahn puts on every single year. I've been here since the start and want to keep that going. So if you're listening and watching and on the fence about joining Autobahn, come on out. It's a lot of fun.
Well, absolutely. Well, congratulations on winning again tonight, Ross, and thanks for coming to chat to us throughout the season.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thanks very much. Ross Booth, the GTD winner once again. He's had 2 streaks of 5 race wins in a row, by the way, this season. Extraordinary season from him. Let's wrap things up then by talking to the Master-in-Chief, Carter Cunningham, in the league. Welcome in, Carter. Good to have you with us. Actually, chat about the race first before we because we don't get to chat to you every week, of course, even though you may not want to chat about your own race. 4th place tonight. How did you find the conditions out there, the changeable conditions, and the LMP2 class?
Not ideal, as you could see. Honestly, I just made a really bad strategy call. I figured it would be a lot more damp than it was, and I got a little concerned on the pace lap, and then it just took me way too long in the first 10 minutes or so to realize, yeah, this is definitely not the condition for wets. But really, especially that first lap, I anticipated being able to pull past, because I knew Mo was on dries. So I anticipated being able to pull past them a lot quicker. Also think it was a lot more wet, but I was actually kind of shocked he was able to keep up with me the first few corners, and then just kind of pushed it a bit too deep and on top of the hill there in turn 3, and around it went, just kind of snapped on me, and that was just kind of the start of the snowball downhill for me for this race. So overall, this is good fun tonight, but just not my race really.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to things more broadly for the league. It's been a great end to the season, I've got to say, from up here in the broadcast booth. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable championship to cover, especially tonight. Figuring out who's going to win the GTD AM Championship was a super fun race to watch. It changed hands multiple times throughout the day as well. But from an administrative side and from an overseeing side, how have you viewed this season of the championship?
Yeah, no, I think this season went really well. Even considering like, I guess I'll call it historically low count that we got this season. I think, most of the races went really, really well. I mean, as you saw specifically even with the GTD Am Champ, I mean, it always is a toss up in that class, which just makes this league super awesome. I feel like every season, sure, you might get the occasional person who just kind of pulls away with a couple of the class championships and, any of the faster classes, but you get the GTM and, it coming down to the wire and it being a matter of 1 point is just crazy. I love that. So, definitely shout out to Ed and Josh for the season that they put together. I know both of them had their ups and downs for sure during the season. So it was awesome to see that come down to the last race. And yeah, I mean, I think the schedule was great. Like I said, we had a lot of great races. Would have been nice to have, a little bit more people in the field throughout the season. I think it would have made for even more great racing throughout the year. But overall, I think it went pretty well, both from admin side, broadcast side, and just overall.
I've got to say it's one of the best championship finales I've seen for some time. It was absolutely great to watch. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, so I'll start by shouting out. I'll start out with you guys, obviously. You guys, we give you, or at least we try to give you some great racing, and we try to give your audience some enjoyable entertainment. So no, I appreciate you guys coming out every other weekish or so on Monday night, or I guess Tuesday morning for you guys broadcasting in the booth.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming out. And then also, I definitely have to give a shout out to all of our champions from this season. We got Pat Pelchat, myself, Ross Booth, Ed Eisenring, and then the boys at Sector 5, Nathan Dowd, Bradley Haley, and Josh Wolf. They all earned it for sure. I mean, you listen to all those names and there's not a name where you're like, oh man, maybe I don't know if he should have won, but no, those guys were definitely the class of the field, if not, the consistency of the field. And so there's a reason they're champions up there. And then just a big shout out to all the guys at Composite Performance. I mean, to think that over half the field throughout the season was probably about guys from Composite Performance is pretty crazy, whether they were running under our team name or not. So it was super awesome. It's a great opportunity for us to get together as a team and go out there and, race each other, race against each other, race around each other. Right. So, big shout out to them. That's without any of these guys that I just mentioned, we wouldn't have been able to put together this season and this wonderful league. So hopefully, we can grow for next season and, put on an even better show.
Absolutely. I can say quietly as well. Great to see the Composite Performance guys out in other leagues now as well. That I've been noticing with more frequency in the last few months. So yeah, congratulations on that. Again, congratulations for a great run season. It's been a pleasure to be here on Tuesday morning, as you say. It's me and James live at this time of the morning anyway, so it's fine. It's been a pleasure to cover the season, and thanks very much for providing the entertainment and organising the entertainment this season.
Yeah, cheers, guys, and we will see you in 1 week at the All-Star race.
Yes.
Be there. It's going to be great. I hope. I promise.
It's not over yet. The season may be over, but the All-Star race is coming next week. We'll have the details, of course, in a few moments' time. But that was Carter Cunningham, league runner of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge, and of course, 4th place tonight in LMP2. Let's get some final thoughts from yourself, Brandon Walker, joining us tonight, LMP2 driver turned commentator this afternoon. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, Brandon. How did you see this race here tonight in Road Atlanta?
Yeah, definitely one to put into the books. I think kind of like the Glen, we saw a lot of indecision, uncertainty, and of course some gambles got it right, some got it wrong, and then like Wolf, he still had some opportunity left out there, but overall I think just a great season overall, and different perspective being here in the booth, kind of giving some input where I could, and I think now we have to wait for the off season, of course, but I definitely think next season will be another season to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. And James, it's been obviously myself and you for all but one race this season, and it's been a lot of fun and culminating tonight as well. A great way to end it.
Yeah, this has been just incredible, hasn't it? Let's be real about it. As I said earlier on, for a season to start in September and for one class to go all the way through to one person winning by 1 point, it's just nuts. You don't see it in anything. And it was like being at Alton Towers this evening. There was just roller coasters everywhere. Josh Wolf's got it. Eisenring's got it. Carter's going around more times than a ballerina in Swan Lake. Perez has gone around. Dorenberg's put it in the wall. We had so many people that were in the lead that just didn't want to be there because they threw it away all over the place. It was just absolutely crazy. And we've been going since September. We've still got this craziness going on in the final race. I think it's been incredible, to be honest.
Yeah, it certainly
I
has.
didn't realise Carter was still in here. Sorry, Carter.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, what a shame.
I should have looked up before I said that. But it was true, though, mate. You did go round a few times.
Hey, if I looked like a ballerina, I hope I was at least a very pretty ballerina.
You was, darling. You were in a lovely pink tutu and everything.
Thank you.
That's okay.
It was, it wasn't a great race for some, but anyway, we'll gloss over that. It is the end of the season, but not the end of the racing altogether for the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge. As we've been briefly mentioning throughout, next week is the All-Star race. We'll be at Fuji for 3 15-minute races instead of one long race, so a bit more sprint racing action for you next week, all to enjoy. We'll be live same time, same place. It will have a similar feel to it, but it will be slightly different racing and good racing as well when everyone is in the same class coming up in 1 week's time. So make sure you join us for that sprint racing in the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge All-Star race in 7 days' time. But a big thanks in the meantime for everyone who's been tuned in over the course of the season. It's been a pleasure to bring this one to you. The Autobahn Sports Car Challenge for Season 14. Tonight I've been Ewan alongside James Parfitt and special guest Brandon Walker in the booth as well. Until we see you in the All-Star race in 1 week's time, it's goodbye for now.